Money don't make my world go round. I'm reaching out to a higher ground, to a warm and peaceful place.
I can rest my weary face.
Don't think
Cause
that's
we're living in a crazy maze. Why do you want to work here? Shoot.
What is it like earning $300,000 a year in your business? I can tell you because I've done it. And these are 5 of the biggest lessons I learned. I wanted to make this video for several reasons. You always see videos of these like super successful multi-millionaire or $1 million a year. It's rare that you hear from people in the trenches who are actually like kind of, well, not that I'm halfway there, but relatively close to being halfway there, because the struggles are so much different for someone who's at $1 million a year versus someone who's at like, you know, 300,000, 200,000. So I wanted to give a real authentic perspective on what it was like to earn that. And firstly, we can dive into the numbers. I've got my laptop here. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 revenue streams. Stream 1, which was probably the most reliable revenue stream, which is video and Facebook and Instagram ads. So what that means is I would get a client and I would either make content for them, a promotional video, or I would show them how to make the content themselves, and then I would run their social media paid advertising for them on Facebook and Instagram. All sorts of different clients, but overall I had 3 clients over 12 months paying me $2,500 a month. So that's $7,500 a month recurring revenue, which is $90,000 revenue a year. So you can see that's quite a stable little income. Income stream 2 was my online coaching program, which was teaching video creators how to get recurring revenue through video distribution. In simpler terms, it was me showing video creators how they could do what I was doing for those above clients. My course cost $5,000. For some people, I ended up giving them a bit of a discount if they couldn't afford it. I ended up getting 25 people in my course at an average of $4,600, which comes to, over 12 months, $1,115,000. So that's pretty cool, because that's really my passion, is helping video creators and being involved in that content creation strategy realm. Stream 3, this is a cool thing I learned from my mentor. Once people reach a certain point in coaching or in, you know, learning any skill, if they're motivated, they'll always want to get to the next level. So this is where, if you have an online program, you offer one-to-one coaching. So I really enjoyed doing this. So for certain people in my group, I offered them one-to-one coaching. It would be 1 hour a week over Zoom, and I would charge them $200. So it was $200 an hour, and I had about 5 people on average doing that per week. So that was $1,000 a week, which is $3,200 a month, and $38,400 annually, which is 5 people getting coaching for a year. Give or take, like some people stopped while other people joined, but it averaged out to be 5 people doing the coaching. So that's revenue stream 3. Revenue stream 4, which is the final one, which is one-off videos without marketing. So I made about $60,000 revenue from one-off videos. So that total revenue from those 4 revenue streams comes to $303,000. Okay, but that's revenue, right? That's not the profit. So what were my expenses? Well, for the one-off videos I was talking about, I wouldn't actually create the videos myself. Firstly, because I'm a bit rusty, I don't have the equipment. Secondly, because I'd rather use people that are specialized in what they do and I can focus on the strategy. And thirdly, it takes too much friggin' time. I'd rather be working on the strategy and doing other things. So I would end up with a profit margin of about between 40 to 50%. So, which would go to the videographer for the shooting. I would normally help with the scripting, but for the shooting, editing, maybe graphics and grading. So that would be about $35,000 of the $60,000 gone. So, and then production for my own content, for my own marketing content, that was about $7,000 give or take. So that would be hiring a videographer to make content for me, because once again they can do it better than me, and I'll do the strategy and the scripting, and then I could use my time in other areas. Then ads, I spent a lot on marketing my course, which I was marketing just in New Zealand and in Australia. So in those two places, $67,200 a year. So that's quite a lot, a big expense. But those ads would help with the one-off videos too, so it all kind of worked together. And then I've got an expense down here for about $8,000 for MISC. So the total revenue per month averaged out at $25,000 a month. But what was the profit? Because the revenue doesn't mean shit. It's obviously the profit, the money that you actually get to keep, that's important. Okay, so total revenue was $303,000. The expenses were $117,200, which leaves $185,000 profit over 12 months. And if you break that down, that's $15,500 a month on average, which is pretty cool. So that's a breakdown of how I got the revenue and the profit. But the important stuff is the lessons I learnt. Lesson 1, the journey itself is the reward, not the money, because the skills, the connections, the knowledge, and the confidence that you build is the vital part. And you have to become a better person in all aspects of life, because you have to build relationships, you have to get to learn to know people, learn psychology, be on the constant alert, and know how to solve people's problems fast. The journey itself is in the reward, yeah, so not the money. And you get to dive deep into people's worlds. So once you get to know people and you're working with them, people open up. Like, I learned very intimate things about people. For example, one guy saying he was going to get married in 2 weeks, that he didn't want to get married, and he only wanted to do it for his visa. And I was just like, fuck, this is heavy. The journey itself is the reward, not the money. You can actually change people's lives. And that was something I never really thought about, but when I got messages from people saying like, you've genuinely changed my life, it means so much to me. Like, it always almost makes me well up, because I wasn't expecting to have that kind of impact so quick, so that was really cool. Lesson number 2, there are big highs and there are big lows. So I've got some good examples. One of my biggest highs was I made $17,000 in one day. I think it was a video and selling a couple of people into my course, and this happened before like 1 or 2 p.m. and I was just like, this is insane. So that's obviously a big high. And I remember on that day I went out fishing in my dinghy and I caught a snapper for dinner, and the sun was going down and maybe I had a couple of beers, and I was just like, I can't believe I've made $17,000 in one day. It's just blew my mind. And one other quick note on that, if you're using technology to scale your business, meaning that if you're spending $200 on Facebook ads and you're constantly getting a good return on your investment, so say you're spending $200 a day, so say you're spending $1,400 a week on ads. If you keep getting, say, like one $5,000 client every week and a half, and with an online course you can deliver it, you can scale an online course pretty high before you have to get more help, like hire a team and things like that. So if you're spending $1,400 a week, but every week and a half you're getting a $5,000 client, you just make your decisions based off the numbers, which means emotionally I'd be like, oh my god, I can't make more money than that. But you're looking at the numbers and you're going, well, if I'm spending say I'm spending $1,800 but I'm making $5,000, it makes sense to just keep scaling the numbers up and making more and more money until the numbers don't make sense, meaning you don't make your decisions on emotions or the internal ceilings that we all have in terms of how much money you can make. You're making the decisions based off the data, which is real scary, but it also pushes you out of your comfort zone every single day. That's fucking awesome. So yeah, you get some big highs like that, but you get some big lows, and you will eat shit. And I don't mean literally, but just a side note, I remember in one of when Josh and I were working on a building site, one day we were literally cleaning up feces from a burst pipe. So I have actually cleaned up shit as a job. But in terms of all of those income streams, all of those things going on, things go wrong all the time. So if you sign up someone on a retainer for $2,500 a month, and you're not getting them results, you're pretty fucked, and it's all on you because you promised something, and if you're not delivering, it's just not good. And that happened to me. You know, you can't control everything. Maybe the product market fit isn't right, maybe it was just not a good customer to work with in the beginning, maybe you're not specialized enough in that particular area. You know, things can go wrong, some that may be in your control, some that may be out, but even if they're out of your control, you're still responsible. People will get mad at you, people will yell at you, and you just have to suck it up. And yeah, I got like dropped as a good client of mine dropped me and started using another agency, even though I believed I could do a better job. But yeah, it sucks, and you get pretty stressed and you have little time. It impacted my friendships and relationships. I was working about 6 days a week, which I still like to do, but I was so worried about things going wrong with my clients and all of those different parts that I stopped drinking alcohol for 11 months, stopped going out and socializing as much because I was just constantly trying to predict the next thing that could go wrong. In other words, I was completely out of balance in terms of I was still exercising and being healthy, but I was out of balance with my work life and my social life. And it was just, yeah, I couldn't switch off. Lesson three, too many income streams. And the quote that comes to mind, the man who chases 2 rabbits catches none. So I had my marketing agency with my recurring revenue, I had my course, and I had my upsell to my course with my coaching, and I had my one-off videos. There was too much going on, too many customers with different needs, different skill sets for each, different relationships to manage, which was possibly the hardest thing. And there's a saying, the riches are in the niches, or the niches, as we say in New Zealand, which means it's better to dive deep into one particular customer avatar and problem and solve that, rather than spread yourself too thin. And I knew I was spreading myself too thin, but I was just like, let's see how friggin' far I can take this. And I couldn't scale any further because I literally had no time. And I did try hiring Facebook people to run my Facebook ads, which was good, and I was obviously using people to make videos for me. I was maxed out with my time, and once you start hiring people, it's just a whole nother ball game, which I'm not very experienced in, and I wasn't quite ready to do that. So once you get to like 300,000 or so, my view is you need help, and I wasn't prepared to do that with what I was offering. So basically I was on they call it the 6-figure hamster wheel, which is basically where you're working in the business, not on the business. All you're doing is going round and round, keeping it alive. Like, you can't get it any and it's just not that fun, because it's hard to have a vision when you know that you're just a bit stuck. There's another way you could put it is it making the boat go faster? They do that in the Olympics, you know, with the rowing. Are we actually improving the speed of the boat, or are we just maintaining it as it is? And the point where I was at was I wasn't making the boat go any quicker. I was just going round and round on that hamster wheel, feeling a bit stuck. That's lesson 3, too many income streams and too broad. Lesson 4, think long term and work with good people. So I was spending about, as I said, between 200 and 250 a day on Facebook ads, and this taught me over time that I needed to think long term, because say I could spend $1,000 from spending $250 a day. I could spend $1,000 in 4 days, just completely gone. And that would mean if I got no leads coming in, this is for my online course, I would be like, fuck, I've just lost $1,000. Like, if this keeps going, you know, I'll be broke in a few months. And I'd always want to lower the budget. But then what I'd do is I'd look at the data, and everything would even out, and I would work out that I was still really profitable, despite the fact that I could go a week without getting any leads. But then the next week I would get, you know, maybe 10 leads. So it really taught me to think over longer time frames. But also in terms of thinking long term, I think I had a lot of my eggs in one basket in terms of Facebook and Instagram. I was at the mercy of those platforms, so that was another stressful thing, was I would have to constantly keep up to date with their changes. For example, on Apple devices, it got harder to track people and they had to opt into Facebook ads, and there's always updates. changes, new rules and regulations. So that made me also think more long term about how I can serve people over a longer, over years, no matter which platform they're on. And that kind of taught me that the timeless principles and strategies of marketing are much more important than these quick win tactics. Even though you could make a lot of money quick, I'd much rather dig deeper. So now I'm really focused on the fundamentals of building a business over the long term. But I wouldn't have got to this point if I hadn't done all of that scrambling and been frantic. The second part of that lesson, so it's think long term and work with good people. The second part is working with good people, with good businesses, and building trust, and relationships that are built on authenticity and transparency are very important, and that becomes more and more evident the further along you get, because anyone can make a quick buck, but it just sucks working for people that you don't like. It just seems like a job, like you might as well go and get a friggin' job. I want a business because I want my own freedom. I want to change the world and help people create impact that I care about. And if anyone is a dick these days, now that I've got a bit more success, I just won't work with them. And that's easy to say now that I'm a little bit further along. But yeah, that's another lesson I learned. The final lesson, lesson 5, is be light and have fun. Making money is easy. And I found that the more attached you are to an outcome, the more desperate you come across and the less likely it is to happen. So doing sales calls, I used to get so stressed at the start and I would hope people wouldn't pick up. And then after a few, when I relaxed, I was like, whoa, this is actually really fun. And I can be light and playful. The more I'd put myself out there and just be honest with people and be like, this is what I think you should do, this is how I can help, do you want help or not, the more likely they were to say yes. This is another thing I've written down here. The most successful people in their fields, they love what they do, and while they are super laser focused, they're very light and playful. And someone that comes to mind is Ricky Gervais, who's obviously a very successful comedian. I heard something and he was talking about how being childlike is so important. And I try to do that in my business. I try to have fun, I try to have a laugh with people, not take it too seriously while showing that I can still deliver good results. And I think that really helped me stand out from other people who were dead serious and were just fucking boring. Every day I wake up and if I'm in a bad mood, I just say to myself, stay light. And then once I'm light and I'm like, oh, that doesn't matter, everything just becomes a lot more fun and easy, and I've had a lot more success. So those are the 5 lessons I learned from earning $303,000 revenue and about $185,000 profit in 12 months. I hope that was useful. If it was, give us a bloody like and a subscribe. Yep.